Welcome to a Friday edition of Yahoo Sports Daily. She's Caroline Fenton. I'm Jason Fitz for the next 2 hours, as we have been all week. We're coming at you live from San Francisco. This is our last one together in person.
I don't want it to end. It's been too fun.
I got a little tear going down my cheek.
I am exhausted.
Okay.
That is what Super Bowl week does. I know everyone is playing the world's tiniest violin for us, but I don't want it to end.
Why is it always got to be the world's tiniest violin, by the way? Like, never the world's tiniest saxophone. Okay, we got a lot that we're going to get into over the course. I'm just imagining Careless Whisper on a tiny finger sax now. Got a lot that we got to get into over the next couple hours, including some hot takes that came from Media Row yesterday. You'll hear from some superstars. We got Barry Sanders joining us on set, going to hang out with him. Joey Mulinaro going to join us on set, going to hang out with him. And we got plenty to get to from the NFL last night. But we start with the reason we are here. Super Bowl 60, just a couple of days away. And we're going to do one thing that we love doing on this show, the tail of the tape. This is where we try and take different categories of the matchup and figure out which side has the advantage. So we're going to tail the tape everything you see right there between the Patriots and the Seahawks in anticipation of what we're going to get on Sunday. Let's start with the head coach, Caroline Fenton. If you had to give an advantage, Mike Macdonald, first Super Bowl, Mike Vrabel, first Super Bowl as the head coach. Who do you give the tail of the tape advantage to?
In the tail of the mics, I'm going advantage Mike McDonald.
Okay.
I saw all I needed to see in the NFC Championship game when it was Seahawks defense, Rams offense, in the red zone, mano-a-mano, when you're playing football in a phone booth between one of the most respected offensive minds in all of football, and then Mike McDonald, who is quickly becoming one of the most well-respected defensive minds in football. Who won that battle in that moment and obviously in the entirety of that game? It was Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald, as a defensive genius, beat out Sean McVay, the offensive genius. Mike McDonald is the Sean McVay of the defensive side of the ball. And I keep hearing, well, Mike Vrabel has experience. He's been here before. Mike Vrabel was a player when he played here before, so sure, maybe he has experience as a player. Maybe the jitters aren't going to be as high. Maybe the butterflies aren't going to be in his stomach, maybe as much as a guy who has never been there before as a player or as a coach. But Mike Vrabel's never coached in a Super Bowl either, so I don't think that there's an overwhelming experience advantage on the other side. I just have so much respect for Mike McDonald and what he's been able to do with that defense.
Look, I agree with everything you just said. And, Mike McDonald, the second most famous Mike McDonald, still advantage Doobie brother. Incredible head coach. I was originally on your side, and then yesterday on Inside Coverage, C-Rob sort of planted a seed I couldn't get out of my mind. Charles Robinson on Inside Coverage kept talking about when he talked to Patrick Mahomes about the Vrabel defenses he faced in Tennessee. Mahomes kept stressing, I just hate playing Vrabel's defense. It's so varied, and there's so much. And I sat there and I thought, man, why am I giving the advantage to a coach that just doesn't have even that level of proof of concept yet to that same level over Vrabel, other than the fact that I believe Seattle's better, right? And that Seattle defense has been so good. I'm going to give Vrabel the teensiest edge in this one. It comes down to the wire for me. Also, by the way, I think both of these head coaches have done it in such different ways. It's just funny to me because Vrabel is just your guy's guy that players love being around, and he's got this energy, and he's turned this thing around. McDonald is not that sort of rah-rah, yell up and down sort of guy on the sideline. So it's crazy to me, and a reminder as we see 10 teams with new head coaches, there's no one method that is the right method when it comes to a head coach. So I love this matchup. What about quarterback? We've got Drake May, who finished second in the MVP voting last night. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. Versus Sam Darnold, who obviously this is the reclamation of Sam Darnold. Who do you give the edge to?
Edge Sam Darnold, quarterback advantage in Seattle. The NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. And what Drake May has done lately is played his worst football of the entire season. What Drake May has done lately is throw for 84 yards against the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. I know there was weather. I hear you. I understand it. But what Sam Darnold did in the NFC Championship game was outduel the league MVP. I mean, the Rams didn't do anything to shoot themselves in the foot, at least offensively. Matthew Stafford didn't do anything to shoot himself in the foot in that game. It was just Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, both with great games, clean games, and Sam Darnold outdueled Matthew Stafford. So would I say overall, who would I want to invest in long-term into my franchise? I would probably defer to Drake May, but for right now in this game, based on how both of these quarterbacks have been playing, advantage Sam Darnold.
I keep falling in love with the concept of Drake May's legs making a difference, and I think that there is opportunity there. But to your point, I'm going to have a lot of crow to eat if Sam Darnold goes out in the Super Bowl and throws 4 picks. Like, I'm just being honest. At this point, I've gone fully in. Like, this dysfunctional relationship is back. I love her. I trust her. I think it's all going to be perfect. We're back to normal. Everybody's going to be happy. We'll see how that plays out, right? Like, I feel like on Sunday, either I am going to be the champion with the megaphone up in the box saying, see, I told you Sam Darnold is fully reborn into this new version of Sam Darnold, or I'm just going to get off social media because I've said so much at this point. I think who Sam Darnold was is just a part of the story that leads us to who he is today. And I just no longer care about the couple of bad games that we've seen with the Vikings, the couple of bad games that we've seen with the Seahawks. I don't care because to me, those bad games are pocketed in different periods of time. Right now, Drake May is not playing good football. And I will credit Jeff Saturday, who did one of the smartest breakdowns I've ever seen of the offensive line issues that the New England Patriots are having right now. And it's not just guys getting beat, it's massive communication issues. And that has the entire clock for Drake May sped up. When his clock is sped up to this level, he's not comfortable. When he's not comfortable, I don't think he's going to be the guy we can rely on. I think Drake May makes mistakes that lose the Patriots opportunities. And I'm not going to give you our picks yet. You got to wait for our picks.
And if C.J. Stroud wasn't playing like a double agent in that game against the Patriots probably lose that game. I mean, like, Drake May was loosey-goosey with the football. The Patriots made their fair share of mistakes in that game as well. They just happened to be the beneficiaries of 4 picks.
Oh, yeah, C.J. Stroud should have been the MVP of that game, right? Like, I said, congratulations. Thank you, C.J. Stroud. What about weapons? All right, let's take a look at the weapons in this one. Is this even close? I mean, when I say Jackson Smith and Jigba, like, it's like...
It's JSN. Yeah. I mean, I think JSN is going to be the best player on the field between both of these two teams, period, in the Super Bowl. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Offensive Player of the Year. He was awarded last night. Very, very much so deserved. Jackson Smith and Jigba is one of the best, and you could say right now, is playing like the best wide receiver in the entire National Football League. I see you, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs. All of those guys have been incredibly reliable and good pieces for this Patriots team, but none as important and as impactful as Jackson Smith and Jigba and Kenneth Walker as well running the football.
I mean, you say, I'm going full John Cena. Like, I don't see any of those Patriots guys even in the same
They don't
league.
exist.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. But this is really about, you mentioned JSN. I'll stick with JSN. I'll also add that Rashid Shaheed has absolutely created opportunities for JSN in the way he clears out the field. And then again, Kenneth Walker III, who I think sneaky. Shaheed and Kenneth Walker III are sneaky plays to me to be an MVP in this game because there's going to be so much attention played to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, we'll give you our picks later on MVP. I'm curious to see what the Patriots' defensive mindset is going to be. Because if you apply all of your resources to slowing down JSN, that's probably what makes sense. I'm not sure you can. And if you do, then can they beat you other ways? So I think the Seahawks can, the choose your own adventure on weapons gives you many more opportunities to win that way. Let's also get the defense. Like we were just talking about the defense. Yeah. There are some stars on the defensive side on both sides of the ball. Who do you give the defensive advantage to?
This is a matchup of if you loved football in like the 60s, you're like, yes. If you're an AFC North fan, you're like, yes, run the ball and play great defense. But I think the advantage is Seattle. I understand that I just said this is a what have you done for me lately league, and Drake May hasn't been playing very well, and Sam Darnold has. Well, Seattle's defense got kind of carved up by the Rams. Like, that was an offensive shootout in the NFC Championship game, whereas the Patriots have been stifling defensively. But I also have to peel back the layers on that a little bit and say, okay, well, you were playing a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham in the snow. Was that so much the defense, or was that you're opportunistic? C.J. Stroud throws 4 interceptions in that game against the Texans. Now, the Patriots defense does get credit for that, for forcing those turnovers, but also C.J. Stroud is at fault for some of those as well. Getting after Justin Herbert, eliminating the run against the Chargers in the wild card round of the postseason. Well, I think that's more so because the Chargers offensive line is decimated more than it is the Patriots defense. This Patriots defense has been outstanding all postseason long. I want to acknowledge that. I'm not saying it hasn't been, but I trust the Seahawks defense more. I think it is a better coached unit, and I think they've been consistently better throughout the entirety of the season.
I think this is probably the most even of all the ones that we've talked about so far categorically. Like, if Robert Spillane is able to come in and play effectively throughout the course of the game, that helps the Patriots defense. Christian Gonzalez is just a star. And the opportunity to see Gonzalez take on JSN in some level, this is really exciting. I'm concerned, Nick Emmitt, all indications are that Nick is going to be just fine. I continue to say I feel like I'm auditioning for the Weather Channel. The high is going to be 58. The low is going to be 51. 10% chance of precipitation. I don't think that there's going to be a real weather issue on the field, but I do worry about that ankle as much as they tape it up. I worry about that ankle at the start of the second half, too. A reminder to everybody, halftime much longer. So teams sort of have to figure out how to get everybody acclimated to that. So there are concerns, but that scheme for the Seahawks is what really sends them to the next level. I think that Mike McDonald is the best schemer in the game right now with the fastest defense. They're playing a 4-2-5 that's going to be really difficult for Drake May, I think, to decipher what's coming at him. When you piece all of those things together, I end up with the defensive advantage for Seattle. And I think that speaks to, while, defenses don't take on defenses, I think one of the most interesting things in this is Seattle's defense versus a Patriots offensive line that is struggling right now. That's the thing. Like, even if we believe that these defenses are basically equal, I trust Seattle's offensive line, which isn't particularly great, even more than I trust the Patriots' offensive line to be able to throttle back some of that pass rush.
You've got a rookie left tackle in Will Campbell, who has looked like a rookie seeing his first playoff football over the last couple of games. It's a big reason why Drake May has kind of been loosey-goosey with the footballs, because he's got pressure swarming. So, and that's a good point about Nick Emmitt as well. All reports, all accounts looks that he's going to be good to go, that he will be playing. It is a lower ankle injury, which is a relief far more than a high ankle injury for Nick Emmitt. But even though he will be out there, how effective will he be? If you're getting 95% of Nick Emmitt, all good. You would take that any day of the week. But is a 60% Nick Emmitt enough for that Seahawks defense to be as effective as they've been? But Fitz, you say halftime is longer. It's not what it is.
Oh,
Call
sorry.
it what it is. It's the Bad Bunny concert.
My bad. The Bad Bunny concert is longer. Yeah, that
Use
is
its government name.
my fault, Bad. Do I get to call him Bad or do I call him Bunny? I don't.
You call him Bad Bunny.
I don't think I get to call him at all. That's probably fair.
He doesn't get a nickname.
We'll give you more breakdowns on Bad or Mr. Bunny. Maybe I'll go Mr. Bunny later in the show, of course. But coming up next, NFL honors were last night. That man won the MVP. But even more important, he told us about his future. You'll hear about it next.
Give us your breakout fighters of 2026.
You're not going to believe that. Number one is Manchester top teams, Atiba Gutierrez. I think he's going to be the next big African star. Already is.
He's chiseled out of stone. He's got unbelievable power, great skill, huge for the weight class. Very, very impressive. And again, you speak to the guys over at Manchester top team. They could not be more excited about his potential.
Usually I would dunk on a team that's 8-9 going to the playoffs. You don't deserve it. For Carolina, celebrate it. This was a big step forward season. However you got there, you wanted some hope. You wanted something to be happy about. You backed into it, fine. I don't care. The Panthers did have some quality wins this year. They did seem to be making progress. So for the Panthers, hey, step forward, good job, celebrate it. It's a really nice year for the Carolina Panthers to win this division no matter how they did it.
I don't know how anyone could expect Kalen DeBoer to get Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it, because he's not going to. I would suggest to you that had Nick Saban stuck around at Alabama, he wasn't getting Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it a decade prior. And that's Nick literal Saban. I don't think Kirby Smart's getting Georgia back to what Georgia was a few years ago. Dabo's not going to get Clemson back to what Clemson was. It's almost like the entire world has changed.
Oh, let's get to another factory of sadness. The Atlanta Falcons, who fired Raheem Morris after 2 8-9 seasons.
You got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London. That was what Raheem Morris said when they asked him, why did you take this job?
Yep.
And
That's
you still
it.
got those guys. And you still got those two guys.
The red carpet was rocking last night for the NFL honors. Matt Stafford ended his MVP speech with an epic announcement. He will return in 2026. We got a lot to get to from what we saw last night from the honors, but we saw the closest MVP race since 2003. We'll get to that in a second. First and foremost, I spent yesterday sitting in this chair next to C-Rob, who, by the way, is much larger than you are, Charles Robinson and Ben Fox, and we were talking about what the Rams' future could look like at the quarterback position, specifically knowing that we didn't know what they would do. Can they get to it? Do they have a path to it? All of that is time wasted at this point because Matt Stafford last night took care of it. We were wondering how long would the Rams give him? What would it look like? No, as he's winning his MVP, he tells everybody, I'm back next year. This is a moment for the Rams where they get to go all in my mind. They can push all their chips in, and they can make it very clear you don't get a lot of seasons like we just saw from Stafford. Yeah. If you think you got another one in the tank, the Rams need to go all in right now and try and capitalize with the Super Bowl.
Well, this changes everything. This changes the total, off season. This changes our entire perception of the NFC. Getting Matthew Stafford, getting the league MVP back changes so much. I do think the element of the Super Bowl being in LA next year might play a little bit into that. How great of a storybook Disney Channel ending is that, right? Matthew Stafford leads the Rams to a Super Bowl in LA. He can go out on the highest of the highs. That does give you the little warm and fuzzies a little bit. But, we were talking about what do the Rams do at the quarterback position if Matthew Stafford does decide to retire? What, Stetson Bennett? No disrespect to Stetson Bennett, but just a little bit. Stetson Bennett's going to be your quarterback next year. Would the Rams use one of their first-round picks to kind of reach for Ty Simpson out of Alabama? Would that be their solution moving forward? Would the Rams be back in the quarterback carousel of going through the Marcus Mariotas, the Malik Willises, the Zach Wilsons of free agent quarterbacks this past offseason? And imagine how differently that would shape our view of the NFC West, of the NFC as a whole. It changes everything. Matthew Stafford coming back to the Rams keeps the Rams in a Super Bowl window so much so that if I'm in charge in the Rams, if I'm in the Rams front office, I'm saying I don't care about 2028. I don't care about picks. I don't care about money. I don't care about our short-term future, or I guess our longer-term future. All I care about right now, our number one priority is 2026. We'll deal with everything else later.
Well, and Les Snead said this week that you don't have a lot of seasons like Matt had, and you don't have a lot of those left like Matthew just had. Mm-hmm. So he had an understanding. We got to go all in. Yeah. To me, this speaks to how different we see the Rams today than a year ago. Because a year ago right now it was, is McVay going to walk away at some point? Does he want to spend more time with his kids? Is Stafford and his back? Is this all going to be fine? Now as we sit here a year later, Les Snead and Sean McVay have been locked up on long-term contract extensions. Matthew Stafford has just said, I'm back. Like, this is that energizing, I'm not going. I'm saying that very family-friendly.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. Like, that's what we have here is that moment to me where now all of a sudden the Rams have to look at everything and say, right now, what do we do? Because to your point, they have 2 first-round picks. For anyone that doesn't know, one of those picks they acquired in a trade for Atlanta last year. So they have Atlanta's first-round pick and their own first-round pick. To me, I no longer care about those. Oh yeah, no.
It's so bad.
This is we're just digging into our draft prep. Yahoo Sports will have plenty of draft coverage for you. We're just digging into that. But this is considered a weaker draft on the whole. You don't need 2 first-rounders if you're the Rams right now. I'll punt on those picks. F them picks is Les is famous for saying that. I'll go that way. I'll trade those picks for players. I'll trade those picks for future years. I don't care. Right now, my number one concern is what do I need to put around Matthew Stafford to get a different result? And I don't think that there's any one thing. If I'm the Rams, nothing went wrong this year. You just ran into the juggernaut known as the Seahawks. But you're going to have to look at that, and you're going to have to figure out how to get over that hump, especially because now I think the pressure with all in right now is just all eyeballs are looking at it and saying, hey, win a Super Bowl. Like, you need to win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford while you have this window.
We did this exercise in the midpoint of the season of the weakness of some of the juggernauts in the league. I pointed out the Rams special teams.
First.
That
before
was
anybody else.
You heard it here first, people. But that was the only thing that I could find. Because defensively, they were a top 10 unit. Offensively, they were a top 5 unit. You had a quarterback playing at an MVP caliber level. You have one of the best wide receivers in the league in Puka Nacua. The run game is excellent. So what's the only really big weakness? It was special teams. And that's eventually what reared its ugly head in the NFC Championship game. You get the muffed punt. You missed a couple of kicks throughout the course of the season in some really big-time, impactful games. So, do you need to F them picks to fix the special teams in the offseason? I don't think so. They already made a change at special teams coordinator, so it does feel like the Rams are just a couple of tweaks and a couple of pieces from finding themselves right back in this position. But I will always defer to Dan Campbell's post-game press conference after the Lions were eliminated by the Commanders last season. Dan Campbell said there are no guarantees in the NFL. There is no guarantee that we find ourselves in this position. Look, the Lions didn't even make the postseason. So while I do think the Rams should be and will be viewed as legitimate Super Bowl contenders going into next season, a reminder, there are no guarantees. This is a weird and fluky little sport.
Yeah, and to that point, I would just say it's kind of like, to me, I live so much of sports by show the math. When we were kids in math class, you had to actually show how you got to the answer. I think I want to see the math for the Rams. I can't control the answer, the Super Bowl. I just want to know that they did the math to get themselves the right way.
Is Devontae a Ram next year?
Yes, Devontae. Yeah. Now, I mean, if there was any chance that Devontae was thinking of going, no. I mean, they're gonna bring everybody back together. It's gonna be win one for the Gipper. There's gonna be full Rudy. Everybody's in together. They're gonna try and win. I've used every sports movie analogy now. They're gonna try and win a Super Bowl. By the way, congratulations to Matt Stafford. Don't want to bury the lead. Closest since 2003. He wins by 5 points. He wins the MVP. I say 5 points because I want to remind everybody the MVP voting process is not as simple as you just vote. You vote for a different candidates. You have a list. It used to be you only got one vote. Now you vote for 3. You get different points allocated. So he won by 5 points. Closest vote since 2003. Great year for Drake May. Also a great year for Matt Stafford. Great year for Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is your coach of the year. Any surprise to you that one of the guys in the Super Bowl is coach of the year?
None, 0% whatsoever. And we did talk about this. There were several deserving candidates for this award. I do feel like the typical structure of Coach of the Year is worst to first, or a model that kind of follows that. And I think the Patriots are the perfect example of that. They've won 4 games last year. Mike Vrabel's first year in New England, Drake May's second year as a starter in the league. They now find themselves right back exactly where they felt very comfortable in the past, right back in the Super Bowl. And we also have to remind ourselves, MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, whatever it might be, these are voted on by people. Mike Vrabel is beloved. People love Vrabel. He's relatable. He's bro-y. So I think that's another element of this tier, too, is everyone really likes Mike Vrabel, and all of the proof of concept also makes him incredibly deserving.
Yeah, congratulations to Mike. I will say the concept that, oh, my God, the Patriots are here, and what a turnaround. I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth in a moment of honesty here, because over the summer, we spent hours of contact talking about how is it possible that Vegas thinks that the Patriots are going to win double-digit games. So this is not one of those unprecedented turnarounds, but it is still a turnaround, and Mike obviously very deserving of it. We also got the 2026 Hall of Fame class. Plenty of deserving people here. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, Roger Craig, Luke Kuechly. That is our group. Which one sort of stands out to you?
Well, congratulations to all of them. It's the ultimate honor that we have in this sport. But one that stands out to me is Drew Brees. I spent 4 years in Louisiana covering the New Orleans Saints in some of his final years of his career. Drew Brees means so much to the city of New Orleans. You know, he comes in after Hurricane Katrina completely decimated the city of New Orleans. And just a couple years later, the Saints win the Super Bowl. Sean Payton was, that entire team was the beacon of hope for a city that felt so hopeless for so long. And seeing what Drew Brees means to that city obviously gives me my own warm fuzzies. And then you also look at Drew Brees and what he was as a player, as a quarterback. I think he just fits the mold so perfectly for the Hall of Fame. Is it's not just your resume. It's not just the numbers. It's not just how many games you won. And it's not just the fact that he has a Lombardi trophy. It's also the holistic side of things as well. It's also what he has meant for this sport and how foundational he was for a really special football city in New Orleans.
I think, to your point, you can't tell the story of that era, not just that year, but that entire era of the NFL without talking about Drew Brees, that moment and what it meant for the city. So yeah. I think it's incredible culturally for everybody. One thing we said yesterday is we didn't want who didn't get into the Hall of Fame to lord over who did. And so we're going to hold ourselves true to that standard. I want to talk about somebody that did get into the Hall of Fame that I think is incredible. That's Adam Vinatieri, a place kicker, right? So anytime we talk about kickers, it's funny because you sort of roll your eyes sometimes, and kickers have fought for years to have inclusion. I think this is absolutely incredible. Because as you mentioned, when you have to talk about stories, you cannot tell the story of the Patriots dynasty without repeatedly looking at clutch kicks. If they did not have one of the most clutch kickers of all time, we would not be talking about the number of rings some of the other Patriots have, right? Like, there is just, to me, I think it's an important moment here to just acknowledge, no matter what the position is, the question is, were you part of the phenomenon of the NFL in a way that everybody, leading up to the week, were you part of the conversation? Leading up to the week, were other teams looking at it saying, we've got to factor in for that guy? Leading up to the week, was everybody focused on what you meant to a game plan? That, to me, is such a Hall of Fame argument. If you come into a week and say, man, I don't want to have to take on that guy. I can tell you that for football fans everywhere, for coaches, for people that played against those teams, you knew you did not want to get into a one-possession game against the Patriots, because if you did, they had the kicker that would always make the kick. If that isn't Hall of Fame to me, I don't know what is. So, frankly, I love a kicker getting into the Hall of Fame. I love more emphasis to this, and I love the fact that, at least for a moment, it shows all of us that, there are Patriots out there that are getting into the Hall of Fame. It sort of at least quells a little bit of that conversation, because I know today a lot of people want to talk about Bill and they want to talk about what it means for Brady and all of these different things. For me, having Adam Vinatieri go into the Super Bowl is just a reminder that this isn't some massive anti-Patriots agenda. Yeah. This is just, it's a very convoluted process that needs some repair.
Kickers are people too. Very much so deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I already have heard the rhetoric of, how could Adam Vinatieri be in the Hall of Fame before Bill Belichick? I hear you. Does it feel icky? Does it feel wrong? 1,000% yes, it does. But we all already knew that. We knew it was icky and wrong that Bill Belichick wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. This isn't an anti-Adam Vinatieri sentiment, which is what I feel like it's becoming. It's becoming an anti-all of these inductees sentiment, when it really should just be an anti-Hall of Fame voting process kind of sentiment. So congratulations to Adam Vinatieri. I am always of the belief. Can you tell the story of the history of the National Football League without this person? If the answer to that is no, that you have to, in order to accurately portray the history of the league, you have to talk about this person, then that person belongs in the Hall of Fame. That applies to Bill Belichick, 1,000%. We all agree with that. I think it also applies to Adam Vinatieri as well. So many pieces of that Patriots team.
And taking what you just said, Drew Brees, cultural phenomenon that you had to talk
100%.
about. Adam Vinatieri, we mentioned. Luke Kuechly, somebody that was at the front of the conscious stream of the entire NFL fan base for his entire generation. Roger Craig is absolutely, you just can't talk about those 49ers teams without talking about Roger Craig. And, of course, Larry Fitzgerald. Really cool to see somebody that never necessarily had the teams or the quarterbacks that we all wanted him to have. We talk so much about, how the Dolphins never got the right pieces around Dan Marino in his era. We're talking right now about Joe Burrow's inability to have the right team around him. We can look back at history and see all the ways that Larry Fitzgerald was failed. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Larry Fitzgerald ends up in the Hall of Fame because the voters did the right thing, and they looked at his greatness through the lens of what he accomplished, how he accomplished it, what he had around him. Really beautiful moment, and beautiful for all of them. Again, just watch one video of one of these guys getting the knock on the door and finding out they're getting a gold jacket, and it will remind you that what we will not do is diminish any of their moments because of people that didn't get that same moment, no matter how much that's been the discourse. I actually find myself thankful today that we found out a week ago about Bill and Robert Kraft, so that we could spend this time celebrating the appropriate thing, which are these gentlemen that gave up everything, sacrificed everything they could have, and now find themselves in the Hall of Fame. All right, we've got plenty more NFL coming at you as we are live in San Francisco. Super Bowl 60 just days away. Barry Sanders going to join us later on set. Cannot wait for that. But coming up next, our buddy. He's now a friend of the show. Look at him, dashingly handsome right there. Joey Mulinaro going to join us. Already a friend, but now that you made multiple appearances, he's a regular.
One school that's doing some work in there right now, very quietly, is the Florida Gators. At the time of us taping this, Florida is sitting there with a top 10 class. And you're like, JD, wait a second. Florida's got a top 10 class? Who have they added? And I think this portal class in general for John Summerall is a good reflection of just the overall vibe, attitude, persona of what you're going to get from John Summerall during his time in Gainesville.
and I've been thinking about the Denver Nuggets here for a little bit. Jamal Murray's gonna have to carry a torch during this program. Like it's, I know it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air looking around, and no furniture around, but hey, he's gonna have to figure it out. What I will say that helps Denver is the return of this version of Aaron Gordon. And I very specifically mean this version of Aaron Gordon. And I know you might have a twinge of concern that he may do too much, but it was good early and they need it now.
Have you had a chance to kind of unpack all of it?
Yeah, I don't know that I have yet. I think it's just another reminder of how wild pro football can be. I've lived it so many times. I mean, I think going back a little over 2 years ago when I tore my Achilles to now, there's been a lot of curveballs and a lot of change. And I was told a long time ago in pro football, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm reminded of that time and again.
How long do you feel like that window is with Lamar, though?
I think you can get 2 more years of Lamar as a locked-in top 5 guy. And then I think after that is when it's like, okay, maybe he ages to more being a top 12 guy, which is still good. Maybe more of a tier 2 guy in my brain. And then it kind of ages from there. Russ went from like a tier 2 guy that fell off to a tier 3, tier 4 guy. You're going to have that drop off at some point in your career.
Heading out to San Fran for Super Bowl festivities tomorrow. Saturday, we'll be at Radio Row. Second Super Bowl week in a row. Can't wait. Can't wait. That's Bart Scott. Hope to see you out there. That from Joey Mulinaro, dashingly good looking, wildly famous, and now hanging out with us on this set. Friend of the show at this point. Like now,
Thanks so much for having me.
We get to hang out in person. How's your San Francisco experience so far?
Well, first of all, I don't know who picked out the fattest picture ever of me that you guys promoted me with. That was me about 25 pounds ago.
We're trying to
so as you can
sabotage
see,
you.
I got a little bit more defined since that Kentucky Derby red carpet. But no, I'm so glad to be here, man. It's great to be back with you guys in person, actually. It's awesome.
Are you on a fitness journey or just cutting out? Or?
Really, diet. Okay. My diet has gotten a lot cleaner. Cut out soda, and it just fell right off of me. You'd be amazed.
Is soda the ultimate vice for you?
I can think of a few others,
Okay.
but yeah, that was for a while. I love the big Polar Pops. Go and get those. I don't know what the price is for you guys, but out in Indy, it's like 69 or 79 cents for like one of those giant ones. So you'd walk out with like a bucket basically of soda, and it just went straight to the face, man. I've cut it out, and now I got a jaw again, so it's great.
As I said, dashingly good looking. There we go.
Thanks, my man.
So we were just talking off air. We're going to get to plenty, but we were just talking off air because I told you, like, look, I want to just go rage at the draft and just to celebrate Fernando. You said you ran into him. What was it like?
Crazy. He was like one of the first people that we saw. Me and my buddy Evan, who's out here with me, we're walking, trying to find our way to the media center because we have no idea where we're going. And we're at the corner. We look up, Fernando Mendoza just getting out of a car right in front of us. And I was like struck by lightning, because he's the man. And so I literally just go, "Yo, Fernando Mendoza," and he turns and he goes, "What's up, my man?" And I was like, "So good to see you." And he just goes, "Yeah, great to see you too, buddy." And then he just kept walking. And I was like, I don't know if he knew who I was, but it was exactly what you'd expect from Fernando Mendoza. Biggest smile, just so happy. It was awesome.
He is nothing if not consistently genuine and precious. And it is funny because we're at the Super Bowl. We have the wonderful privilege to talk to wonderful people like yourself. I had a friend of mine reach out like, "Are you going to meet Fernando Mendoza?" And I'm like, there's a million famous people that I can meet. It wasn't Bad Bunny. It wasn't, whatever celebrity. It was the Indiana quarterback, which is crazy to see the cultural phenomenon he's become.
He's the moment. He really is right now. He's like the it guy, probably is on the cover of all the magazines. He's that dude. So it was crazy.
Fernando Mendoza and Sourdough both having moments. Whoever's doing their PR.
Sourdough's been having, I feel like it's been a long moment. I'm kind of
You're
done
over
with
sourdough?
No, now I just want to watch Fernando try and make sourdough.
Sourdough with Fernando.
We're
just pitching stuff.
Fernand Sourdough?
Fernando, D-O-U-H.
Yes.
Fernando.
Okay, there it is.
Fernando, call me. I just want a cut or a jersey. All right, so the last time you were on with us, I loved it because we went back and forth on Tomlin, right? It's great. I love your passion on this. And so I'm genuinely excited to hear where you are now. Tomlin no longer there, obviously. Mike McCarthy in. How are we feeling?
there's a promise there, I think. I like the change because, as you guys were well aware, it was just time. Some things needed to be split. It was just time for him for the Steelers and Mike Tomlin to be no more. You get your mind wrapped around all these kind of crazy, exciting hires, and typically the Steelers have, with their history, gone with a 30-something defensive-minded guy who you're probably going to plan to be there for 20 years. So it was just literally no one in my lifetime, not even my dad's lifetime, have experienced what we're experiencing with the Steelers hiring a 62-year-old coach. I mean, it's just uncharted territory because Chuck Noll, 30s defensive. Bill Cowher was like 36 defensive. Mike Tomlin was, I think, 34, 35. It just doesn't happen. What I will say is thank the Lord that it is an offensive-minded guy. I think it was just way past the time to have an offensive-minded guy come in who knows how to work with quarterbacks, who thinks that side of the ball, because that's obviously the way the league's going. And we were just stuck in the mud, man. We were stuck in the mud. And so my hope is that, whether it's with Rodgers or whether it's Will Howard, a rookie quarterback, I think you got a guy that can make something happen there offensively.
Would you want Rodgers back in Pittsburgh?
No.
Okay.
That's the thing. And I loved the experiment with him. I had a lot of fun with it. My buddy got me a Rodgers jersey. I had a blast with it. I think that year was a one-off year that we can look back and be like, I was at the Ravens game on Sunday night where he missed the kick, right? I was at that Sunday night game. Memory I'll have forever. Insane. But I think we just need to leave that over there. I think that's one caveat about the McCarthy hire is the only way it makes sense is if they roll with Will Howard in 2026, see if you can develop him into something because he's there. You brought McCarthy in to be a quarterback guy. And if he's not, then you have your answer. And maybe you win 4 games and you're right at the top of the draft, and then you can get your guy. That's the only way it makes sense. Running it back with Rodgers, it's like we should have just had Mike Tomlin be back anyways. I know he walked away, but yeah, same stuff.
All right, so let's have a little bit of fun, but we'll stick with some NFL, but we'll use some of your brilliant skill set. So hard to believe, 20 years ago yesterday, your Steelers beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. So you want to take us down memory lane, maybe? But, instead of you taking us down, what if, Jerry Seinfeld was watching that Super Bowl? How would he feel about it?
I don't do Seinfeld. I don't know. I don't know why. Did somebody tell you that?
It says right here in front of me. It says Jerry's. You know what? Whoever you want to go as the Super Bowl, whatever voice you want, you're watching the Super Bowl. I'm just reading. I'm Ron Burgundy. It says it there. But whatever voice you want.
I do the Seinfeld sketches. I don't have a Seinfeld impression.
Look at that. Okay.
I do love the Seinfeld sketches.
Thank you so much.
Wherever you want to go with it, we just want you to do great things. So they're saying Kuiper.
I hear the Kuiper. Oh yeah, well sure. You look back at that Super Bowl in Detroit. It was very, very cold. Didn't make it out very much. I stayed in. I watched a lot of film. I was already looking forward to the draft. I really didn't watch the Super Bowl because I was already moved on to the draft. I know that Big Ben didn't play very well. I did have him as first overall quarterback in 2004. He didn't live up to the expectations, but we did have a lot of fun with it, and the Steelers came away with the win.
That's
so good.
That's so good.
So good. I did talk to Jeremiah Love yesterday,
Yeah.
and I asked him, where do you want to go? Where is your desired destination in the draft? He was like, well, my parents are big Steelers fans.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that. I love Jeremiah Love. That's great.
Does Mel Kiper love Jeremiah Love as well?
Oh, sure. Love. Gotta love love. Don't hate love. Love. Yeah, I just go crazy with Kuiper. Yeah, he just loves him.
Give a little Saban for us because everybody loves Saban. So, give us your thoughts.
I knew that you were going to bring me in here and have me do Nick Saban for you. All right, I'm trying to stay away from Saban a little bit, but I can't get away from him because everybody thinks of me and they think of Nick Saban. So I'm going to come in here early. He got me waiting in the lobby for 45 minutes. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't get a coffee. I can't get anything except the water. But now I'm here and I'm having a good time with you, so I'll take what I can get. All right.
Have you done Saban for Saban?
No, but I've met him.
Okay.
And he didn't know that it was me. And he shook my hand, and I said, Coach, Joey Mulinaro, so good to finally meet you, as if he would know who I was. And he just looked at me and goes, yeah, well, all right. Walked away.
You mentioned being starstruck or meeting crazy people. I've been lucky in my life to meet a lot of incredible people.
Yeah, me too.
The Saban thing, the first time I talked to him, I got to admit, I was intimidated. And he's a wee little man. He's a wee little man to be that intimidating. And I don't know why. I'm looking at a wee little pawpaw, and all of a sudden, wee little pawpaw, I just had it in my brain.
Any wee little pawpaw, though.
It's Nick Saban. It's just, I was scared.
I tell you what, softest hand ever, though. It was such a very, very soft, warm, moisturized pawpaw hand, like you said. Yeah, it was very comforting. Yeah, but it was.
He's doing for him. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. We mentioned Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
Will he come back? Is he going to Pittsburgh? Is he going to retire?
Mhm.
So we got some, great star quarterbacks: Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. How would they give Aaron Rodgers advice of how to?
Well, obviously I stepped away way earlier than Aaron, so maybe not the one to give the advice there, because I went a different route. But we're both California guys. He went to Cal, and I went to Stanford, so I don't care for him too much. But I wish him all the success. I do.
How do you decide which voices you want to take on?
I try to just I see somebody who has maybe they got to have a little bit of a distinguished voice, right? You find something that's going to stick, that when people hear it, they're going to be like, oh. And then also just topical, I try to stay in the moment. I mentioned Fernando. I don't have one. I'm trying to work on a Fernando because I feel like there's some distinctiveness there with how cheerful he is and, kind of the pattern with how he talks, It's a little robotic sometimes. You can tell that things are churning up there for him. But yeah, I try to, those are my two things, is there's something that's distinct there that I think that I can do. And then also if they're kind of topical, right?
How did you land on Mahomes?
Obviously that's a very distinct voice. So I was for a while, I was I got it. There's something there. I got to try to do that. And I realized that Mahomes is just Coach O brought up a few octaves and enunciated, right? So Coach O is kind of this is very technical here. I'm getting very technical.
I love this.
It's kind of deep down in the throat, almost to the chest, right?
You got Coach O, man. He's son of a here on Yahoo Sports Daily, man. I'm ready to go back and talk to the Tigers, right?
He's got him back there, and you can't understand anything he's saying. So you go from there, you raise it up, and instead of talking where people can't understand you, you just enunciate the words more. So you say, "Go Tigers!" You're excited to be here at Yahoo Sports Daily. You see myself up there with my headband. People think that it's very Kermit the Frog, but Kermit the Frog is almost more Al Michaels, right? It's almost down here where you're Kermit and you're Al, and then so that's not as much Mahomes, right? Because there's no gravel and Kermit. Kermit is all right here. It's very, do you believe in miracles? Yes. A little bit of Frank Caliendo that comes out there. Yeah. Shout out Frank. I know he was on here. Love that guy. Such an inspiration to everything that I've done, obviously. But yeah, so Mahomes isn't Kermit. He's Coach O, higher pitch, and you can just understand what he's saying.
It's incredible.
He's incredible.
It's really incredible to watch you work, dude.
Totally.
You know what? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, my one that I've been having a lot of fun with recently is Gronk. That's really been a really fun one. I keep hearing the producer. I don't know if they're saying that I should.
No, he was saying that he would love to hear your Gronk. That was all. Don't. He's talking to me just to make sure that I can keep traffic going. Yeah.
But yeah, so my favorite thing about Gronk is that he's made a career of playing the dumbest guy ever, and then people on TV are like, yeah, let's have him on to talk about everything. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. It's like, why am I listening to Gronk break down football when he's made a career of being the big dumb guy?
Get the Emeka big boo moments.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's just I always like to picture Gronk, and he's like, so I'm here on Yahoo Sports Daily, and if it wasn't every day, then it would be called Yahoo Sports Weekly. If it wasn't live, it would be Yahoo Sports Taped, that kind of stuff. So I had one go viral recently where I was him talking about the NFC Championship game, and he was like, so that's the thing about Seattle is they call themselves the 12th man, and that's one more player than you're allowed to have on the field, so LA's going to have to account for another player that they're not used to.
That's incredible.
Gronk is, I met him last year, and he was very scary. I was like, please, just I do this for fun, don't hurt me. And he was like, you're the impersonator, huh? I think your me is about a C. But I like your Bill Belichick. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. So,
can we hear a Bill?
I mean, that's the thing is my Bill is just what everybody does with Bill. He just,
We're on to
right, he's just very, you know, he just kind of is not happy to be here, and he just doesn't really say anything at all. He kind of whispers everything. Right. I mean, that's all it is,
right,
you know.
right.
So,
but it's interesting because you say like his impression of him was a C.
Yeah.
Most of the time when you meet people, do they feel like you're spot on with everybody else, but not with them, or like?
You know, I haven't met that many people that I've done an impression of. I met Cowherd, and he like got a kick out of it. I apologize to him as well, because that's kind of how I lead with those things. You know, hey, I'm sorry. It's all just in good fun. He's like, oh no, it's an honor that you would do me. And I was like, okay, cool. Saban didn't know who I was, right? People have I've talked with Chris Collinsworth, but the thing that he said, I can't remember if I told you guys, but he told my buddy, he's like, you know, what I love about Joey is he's just never mean-spirited. He just has fun with them. And I was like, okay, I'll take that too. So
now here's a guy.
Here's a guy who just goes on and does other people on TV, and sometimes they like it and sometimes they don't. And that's pretty much it. So,
has there been anyone that you've wanted to nail down and you just couldn't quite get it for whatever reason?
Yeah, Tom Brady's been really hard. Tried Brady. I don't know how to attack it. Because he's gotten a lot better on TV. I think he's really, really good now. But I've tried, and I've set up the phone, and I've recorded, and I've tried to listen to a bunch of his tapes, and I just can't get it. Can't get it.
And he's such a perfectionist in everything he does. I'd be so.
Totally.
It's very intimidating. You're hanging out with us. You're wearing some FanDuel gear. Tell everybody what you're up to with FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm just rocking this stuff today. But really, where you could find me and hear me talk about all sorts of different stuff, my social channels, obviously Joey Mulinaro, JoeyMulinaro. And then that's everywhere. And then I do the show These Guys with my other comic buddy, Ben Polizzi, who I grew up with. And so basically we just, talk about like playing CYO football growing up and, NFL players from 2002 and stuff. So it's kind of like we've been told it's like every guy's group chat as a podcast.
So that's a really accurate description. It's 100%.
Perfect. So if you're into that, come on over.
It is 100% accurate. If you're in the draft and I end up there, just look for, if you see a guy running around that is just wildly blazed out of his mind with a boombox playing Fernando by ABBA the entire time.
What a song.
That's me. That's me. That will be me for like 3 days in
existed.
Pittsburgh. I'm
It's
sorry.
been stuck in my head for the last 2 months.
It's perfect. It really is.
there.
Yeah, I hope to see you there, man. Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
We really appreciate it. Follow him on social media at Joey Mulinaro. Joey, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your time in San Francisco. Coming up next, my co-host had the opportunity to talk to that man, Justin Jefferson. The question is he actually happy? Some of what he said has us wondering. You'll hear it next.
Penn State has imported Iowa State. It's the best way I could explain it. Penn State has now taken Rocco Beck. They took RB1. They took wide receiver 1. They took 3 offensive linemen. I detest that this is how college football works at the moment, but it's the way it works at the moment. And that is when you take a head coach, part of the thinking behind hiring the head coach is who he can bring with him. And in Matt Campbell's case, it was basically whoever he wants.
I'm very fascinated to see which direction they go here, because I think that Roman, this is the deal with him. He's not terrible. He's not offensive as an offensive coordinator, but he can get you to a certain point. You need somebody else to get you to the next point. I think he's done a good job with Herbert, getting him to run more and getting him to push the ball down the field. Now I'd like to see, someone kind of just, again, give him some more quicker options. That's the type of stuff I'd like to see from the next coach.
Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, that needs to be resolved, right? Hamzat Shemaiah versus Sean Strickland. But I will accept Hamzat Shemaiah versus Fluffy Hernandez. If Fluffy beats Sean Strickland, I'll take either of those. Here's another one of my, but you accept these as secondary.
100%.
Armin Sarukian versus UFC lightweight champion. We cannot just keep having Armin doing grappling matches and eating and all this stuff.
I'm kind of okay with it.
No, I'm not. I know you love it.
You get the first pick in the underrated player draft. Who are you taking?
Jalen Duren has never made an All-Star game. He's never made an All-NBA team. He's gotten so much better as a scorer this year. Jalen Duren is like a legit All-Star this year. And so because everybody talks about the Detroit situation like it's trash and Cade Cunningham, I'm going to say he's still a little bit underrated, and he's my number 1 pick.
Could you see yourself somewhere not named Minnesota?
I mean, that's not definitely what I'm thinking about this at this moment. I'm a Minnesota Vikings until it's all said and done. So for right now, I'm focused on my team, focused on, of course, my quarterback and the things that we need to fix in our organization. So I'm definitely happy for Joe Brady. I mean, especially for him being our coach at LSU and him having to go to different teams to get what he's wanting now. But of course, I'm happy for him and happy that, all of the things that he has accomplished. But my home is Minnesota until they say otherwise.
That's Justin Jefferson with Caroline Fenton yesterday on Media Row as part of the Super Bowl festivities. You had the chance to talk to him, and it's really interesting to me, Caroline, because he says, I'm a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah.
What do we want him to say? Like, because that answer clipped off is going to turn into all sorts of, is Justin Jefferson happy? And I guess my question is, like, if somebody comes to anybody else in the world, no matter what they do for a living, if somebody comes to you and says, are you happy where you are? Are you going to work there for the rest of your life? And the answer is, hey, I work here and I'm really happy. Like, that's an okay answer. I don't know what we want Justin to say in these situations.
I think it's a reaction to some things that he said. He was asked, would you feel like you'd be here if Sam Darnold was your quarterback? He'd like, yeah, I think we'd have a better year if Sam Darnold was our quarterback because we know what we know. J.J. McCarthy couldn't stay healthy. The Vikings missed out on the postseason, and Sam Darnold was quarterbacking in the Super Bowl. It's not crazy to bend your brain to think that the Vikings could be in a better position if Sam Darnold was their quarterback. I think we're all looking for him to confirm what we already believe, and that's that he's frustrated with J.J. McCarthy. I'll ask you a question. If you were Justin Jefferson, would you be frustrated with J.J. McCarthy? Yes, I would be. Maybe you wouldn't, but I would be. If I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm looking at it like I'm the best receiver in the league. One of the best receivers in the league, if you want to be, a little bit more generous. And you have a quarterback who we don't know if he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. If you told me you have to decide right now, today, is J.J. McCarthy a franchise quarterback, yes or no? I say no. He's 2 years into the NFL. He's played 10 games. He can't stay consistently healthy. And when he is out on the field, he doesn't look like a starting quarterback in the NFL. So if you are what you believe to be the best receiver in the league, you know that you have a finite number of days and years to be playing in your prime, and you're playing with a young quarterback that we don't really know, if he is going to be a starting quarterback in the league, yeah, you'd be frustrated. So I think we all already have our minds made up about J.J. McCarthy. We just want so badly for Justin Jefferson to say what we already believe.
Confirmation bias is something I believe strongly in, and I believe that it is tainted our ability to ever listen to anything that athletes have to say. Because over the course of Media Row, there are going to be plenty of people that come out and say, like last year, Myles Garrett, I want to be traded. If somebody comes out today and says, I want out, immediately the first thing we're going to say is, well, it's just about money. They want a new contract because you don't want to believe that they want out. If somebody comes in and says, I'm outrageously happy, I want to spend the rest of my career here, then we're going to say, oh, they're just saying that. They don't really want it. They're going to talk to an insider behind the scenes and they're going to manufacture their way out. If he comes out and says, well, I'm a Minnesota Viking right now. Like the real answer, hey, JJ, you want to play for the Vikings? Who cares? Like, the real answer is he doesn't have a say in that. Like, he's contractually obligated to play somewhere. So maybe you believe that he's going to go in and say, well, I refuse to play. And that just seems to be, again, this manifestation of whatever we seem to want of certain players. Like, well, you want this guy to go somewhere, so all of a sudden you just decide that that's what they should do. We see that so rarely. Like, I think what we got from Justin Jefferson and what we've had through this whole process is blunt honesty. Like, JJ hasn't been good enough. So what if he says it? Like, yeah, absolutely. I'm a Minnesota Viking today. You think he doesn't understand the business of it? He's watched how many of his teammates be thrown to the side by the organization and then try and figure out what's next. How often do we talk to football players that have played in the league that say, hey, you'll learn quick. It's a business. Yeah. So, like, Justin Jefferson doesn't need to sit there and say, I want to play for the Vikings till I die, because he also understands that there's going to come a day where the Vikings are like, yeah, you're not worth the money anymore. See you, buddy. Like, if you believe, and I do, that Justin Jefferson is just being honest, it makes interpreting his answer really simple. Like, he is a Minnesota Viking today. He doesn't have a great quarterback. He's just being honest on all of it. And I don't think it's any bigger than that. But I think the problem is, whatever answer we get, we decide isn't legit if it doesn't match the answer we want. And that's a problem. Like, at some point, athletes are going to simply stop speaking if every time they say everything, we turn it into a reason that we actually understand what they meant and they didn't mean what they said. It's maddening to me.
Yeah. I hear you, because it's our job to kind of peel back the layers a little bit and go back to our AP English class in high school and try and read between the lines and see exactly what they're saying. But I think the one potentially, dangerous might be a very dramatic word to use here, but I'll use it anyway. Maybe damaging is a better word. The only potentially damaging thing that could come from not just what we heard from Justin Jefferson in our sit down with him, but some comments that he's made about J.J. McCarthy, about the quarterback position that have been aggregated over the last several days and last couple of weeks, is how does that make J.J. McCarthy feel? Everything we've learned about J.J. McCarthy is that he's a pat on the back guy, which is fine. We're all different. We all learn differently. J.J. McCarthy is the kind of quarterback, from everything that I have heard and everything that's been reported, is he needs those kind of pats on the backs. He needs that kind of cookie to bring him along a little bit of, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great. Sometimes guys just need that. Everybody works differently. That's the job of a coach, to understand what your quarterback needs. J.J. McCarthy's hearing all of these things about their franchise player, best player on their team, one of the best players in the league, saying, without saying it, we're not going to win because our quarterback isn't good enough. What does that make? How does that make J.J. McCarthy feel? Now, I don't think it's necessarily Justin Jefferson's job to give a bunch of warm fuzzies to J.J. McCarthy all of the time, but I do think that dynamic matters. I do think public perception does matter, especially understanding that it's a quarterback that words matter to him.
I agree. I think I'll go all the way back to over the summer. I talked to Justin Jefferson over the summer, and I asked him what he saw from J.J., and he said, I need JJ to believe in himself as much as I believe in him. And that was before the season even started. I feel like we have a wide receiver that's been trying to boost this guy up with confidence. He's been trying to do the right things. He's been trying to say the right things. And then it didn't go well. And it just kept sliding downhill. And as it keeps sliding downhill, now all of a sudden he's being asked, are you still the best wide receiver in the NFL? Like, a human element of this is, you bet your ass I'm still the best wide receiver in the NFL. Right. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, because that guy, right? Like, at some point, we have to allow athletes to be human if we're going to ask them to answer questions. Like, the dangerous thing to me here is if every time an athlete answers something honestly, we turn it into something salacious, or we turn it into something that divides a locker room, or we turn it into something that they didn't actually say. Eventually, that's how you wake up one day and we all reach the spot where certain guys just never tell us anything.
We're already there.
I don't fault, if it hurts J.J. McCarthy's feelings, deal with it. Like, I want Justin Jefferson to be able to be the best version of Justin Jefferson. And to that point, you also talked to him a little bit about the quarterback. And this is a little what he had to say about his quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, yesterday when he was with you on Media Row.
Obviously, the quarterback is the main question everybody is asking, and the question that they've been asking all season. But obviously, JJ's first year, not really being able to play for his first year, he got injured. So people just need to give him a little bit of patience and have a little bit of patience for him. And it's a process that he need to go through. He need to learn this game. He need to learn playing with the best receiver in the game. He need to learn just how to manage that offense, and it comes with time. It comes with just preparation and starting in the offseason now, just getting him right and groomed to where we want to be at.
Hear that because it shows you more context. As much as we keep talking about the salacious partial answers, Justin Jefferson did a bunch of interviews yesterday, and overall, I think what he did was he gave us honest human context to everything that we've seen, right? I think at some point, he's given us the honest human answer to this is what I'm going through. It doesn't always have to be a soundbite, and sometimes a soundbite creates controversy where a full answer doesn't.
Yeah. And look, it is clear, too, that, Justin Jefferson is saying honest things. That we have to have patience. J.J. McCarthy is going through a process. He's going through a process because he's not very good right now, because he is not a starting quarterback in the NFL right now. We can all acknowledge that is entirely truth. And I don't blame Justin Jefferson for telling the truth and the reality of the situation that they're in right now, because there's also a little bit of protecting Justin Jefferson that Justin Jefferson has to do in this process as well.
Again, human element to this, you and I work together every day, and you and I are very good friends. If over the course of months, I just stopped pulling my weight on this show, and you're talking to me about it, and you're talking to producers about it, you're talking to everybody about it. Yeah. And then, everybody's talking about it behind the scenes. And all of a sudden, you had to do 100 interviews. And in those 100 interviews, over and over and over again, they were like, what's wrong with, why are you a bad host? Why are you a bad host? Why are you a bad host? At some point, the human element is to say, man, we're working on him. He's got to right the ship. He's got to get more consistent. I don't think that these are bad things. I think the problem is we turn it into 15-second bites, and the bites become the difficulty. A lot to break down, obviously, from what we saw over the course of the last couple of days. We still have Super Bowl previews, predictions. We're going to give you final scores. We're going to give you MVPs. We're even going to give you Gatorade color. But most importantly, coming up next, we're going to give you Hall of Fame. And when I say Hall of Fame, one of the greatest to ever step on a football field, we are honored to talk to Barry Sanders next on Yahoo Sports Daily.
Give us your breakout fighters of 2026.
You're not going to believe that. Number one is Manchester top teams, Atiba Gutierrez. I think he's going to be the next big African star. Already is.
He's chiseled out of stone. He's got unbelievable power, great skill, huge for the weight class. Very, very impressive. And again, you speak to the guys over at Manchester Top Team, they could not be more excited about his potential.
Usually I would dunk on a team that's 8-9 going to the playoffs. You don't deserve it. For Carolina, celebrate it. This was a big step forward season. However you got there, you wanted some hope. You wanted something to be happy about. You backed into it, fine. I don't care. The Panthers did have some quality wins this year. They did seem to be making progress. So for the Panthers, hey, step forward, good job, celebrate it. It's a really nice year for the Carolina Panthers to win this division no matter how they did it.
I don't know how anyone could expect Kalen DeBoer to get Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it, because he's not going to. I would suggest to you that had Nick Saban stuck around at Alabama, he wasn't getting Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it a decade prior. And that's Nick literal Saban. I don't think Kirby Smart's getting Georgia back to what Georgia was a few years ago. Dabo's not going to get Clemson back to what Clemson was. It's almost like the entire world has changed.
Oh, let's get to another factory of sadness. The Atlanta Falcons, who fired Raheem Morris after 2 8-9 seasons.
You got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London. That was what Raheem Morris said when they asked him, why did you take this job?
Yep.
And
That's
you still
it.
got those guys. And you still got those two guys.
The craziest stat ever, the most touchdowns in NFL history at 10 plus yards, 15 plus yards, 20 plus yards, 25 plus yards, 30 plus yards. I read all of that because the name next to each of them is the legendary Barry Sanders. We use the word icon and legend too often. Sometimes it applies. He joins us right now, Hall of Famer. Just one of, for me, growing up and watching you play the game is something that, everybody for generations will say, when you hear talk about this great running back, there's a whole group of us that will always say, damn it, I saw Barry Sanders run the football. It's an honor to talk to you. It's an honor to hang out with you. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Great to be here.
You mentioned, and I just want to get right into something that you just said to us as we were about to come in that's really interesting to me. You were at NFL Honors last night. As a Hall of Famer, when you see Hall of Famers inducted, what's it mean to you?
No, I mean, it's very special and meaningful because you know what it means for them. You know what it meant for you in that moment. A lot of the guys, like Roger Craig, who I had a chance to play against and get a chance to know. Larry Fitzgerald, who's, his dad was in sports journalism. Remember seeing him on the sideline of Viking games. Obviously, Luke Kuechly, a guy that I always knew I'd want to stay away from if I ever played against him. Adam Vinatieri, I mean, what he's meant, to the game in big moments, and Drew Brees. But, yeah, just understanding what those moments mean for them and what it'll mean for them going forward is very special.
And that is the ultimate honor, one of the most elite fraternities that exists in this sport. But another honor that was announced last night, Matthew Stafford won league MVP, an award that you won almost 30 years ago now. What was that like for you to watch Matthew Stafford, a former Detroit Lion, a guy who probably only has one or a couple of years left in his career be honored as league MVP?
No, it was awesome to see Matthew and his family and his daughters there on stage. And I think I speak for I'm not going to say the majority of Michiganders and Detroiters, but I think there's a good number of us that still take some satisfaction, in the success that he's had and wish him well. And even that, when he won the Super Bowl, his first year away from Detroit, I think there's a lot of us cheering him on. And certainly even him, you see at the level that the guy's still playing at, I think he has 10 years left in him. But he's, it's great to see him performing at a high level, especially looking at some of the serious injuries that he's had over the last few years. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And I can kind of remember when I won the award, but great for Matthew.
How did you celebrate when you won?
I don't know. I don't think honors was around back then, but I'm pretty sure I probably had a good meal or something, but I'm not even sure. But it's awesome. It's awesome to be thought of as the best player in that season, right? And so that's meaningful. I think about the players that I played with. And because it was my 9th year in running for 2,000 yards and realizing that that's one of the hardest things to do in this business, and so it's something I really cherish.
You chose to walk away from football early. Matt Stafford let us know last night he's going to come back. How do you know when the right time is to step away?
I think it's sort of it was certainly an individual thing, right? That you have to just be in tune with where you are, and maybe it helps. Maybe it helps to stay around if you won a Super Bowl. Maybe that. Maybe that is great motivation. But he's in a great place. And he's still playing at a high level. But to answer your question for me, I just sort of really knew that in my heart of hearts that drive and determination and everything to continue to play wasn't there. But it does come back to sort of like the individual thing. Where are you in your life and in your career path at that particular moment?
You mentioned it helps to have won a Super Bowl. We've talked a lot, in fairness, about guys like Joe Burrow that are frustrated with losing. You know that experience. What advice would you give somebody that is so premier as a talent, but is with a franchise that can't seem to find a way to maximize it?
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because, Joe Burrow, he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's played in one. You kind of know what it takes to sort of build in that direction, and I like the fact that I went to the Lions and we weren't a perennial winner and we were trying to build that, and so I think some guys like that challenge. I think this is probably not the greatest example, but like Michael Jordan, with the Bulls. And me being in the Detroit scene for so many years, he could not get over those Detroit Pistons, and then finally he broke through, right? And so yeah, I think if you're an elite athlete, you embrace that challenge. And you realize that, hey, look, there's no guarantee for any of us, right, at the start of the season you're going to end up with a championship or in the Super Bowl or whatever. It's something you have to earn, and I think it's something that makes Super Bowl, such a special, unique thing, right? Because the best players in the league don't necessarily always get there, but generally the best teams do.
You mentioned the Detroit Lions. Despite having some down years, that is such a prideful organization. It is a rabid fan base that is so proud to be from Detroit and representing the Detroit Lions. They've had several great years the past couple of years. Haven't gotten to the mountaintop quite yet, but they've been knocking on the door. What has that been like for you to witness the recent success under Dan Campbell?
Well, it's been a great encouragement, honestly. And it's been a great ride. And ever since Coach Campbell has stepped foot in our organization, things have changed, right? And expectations have changed, and the type of, player in the building has changed, and the expectation from the fan base, So we've seen strides and encouragement and progress pretty much every year, right? And we know that even this year, with us missing the playoffs, we're not far off. You see how sort of nip and tuck and tough and competitive things were in our division, right? I mean, the leader of the division happened to be the Bears with 11 wins, and the rest of us had 9 wins, right? I mean, that's unique, right? In just the parity that exists within that group. So, but yeah, we're great to have Coach Campbell, and we missed it this year just by a little bit, but we look forward to next year and the challenge that it brings, and everyone's upgrading the division. Obviously, the Bears have, right, and sort of you have to congratulate them on what they've been able to do, and now we feel like the interesting thing about it is they won the division. We beat them both times this year, right? So I feel like we're not far off, and so I can't wait till next year to see what happens.
When you watch Jahmyr Gibbs, what stands out to you?
Oh, just his suddenness and how electric he is. He's when he gets the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. And just been a great player for us. So he and David Montgomery just been a great combination. Either one of them could start for a lot of other teams, and so. But yeah, Jahmyr's a great player, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him being an MVP of the NFL at some point.
That's a two-headed monster in Detroit. That run game is so fun to watch. What are some other running backs in the league or in recent history that you've loved to watch?
Saquon obviously has had a great career and had a chance to get to know him. Christian McCaffrey, it's great to see him as a comeback player. Who else? Bijan, since he stepped foot in Atlanta, he's a dynamic player, right? Brandon Jacobs or Justin Jacobs, and the Cook kid, Dalvin's little brother, James Cook. James Cook. Yeah, I think he led the league in rushing this year, right? So definitely a good number of running backs in the game, So there's a lot more on that list. Even the two teams in the Super Bowl this year has good running game. Yeah. I'm excited to see what Kenneth Walker's going to do. I think Zach Charbonnet's out of this game, but he had a great year. And the kid Travion Henderson from Ohio State with Patriots had just a fantastic year. And I think the other back is named Stevenson or something like that. But I think both of these teams like to run the ball. And so I think the running game should figure in well to this game. But those are some other running back tandems in the league that you can look at as well.
Some of those running backs you just mentioned, like a Christian McCaffrey, not only do they run the ball, they're extensions of the passing game as well. The modern running back is kind of a receiver as well. What have been maybe the most fascinating changes that you've seen in the evolution of the usage of a running back?
I think probably 5-6 years ago they were trying to almost like weed us out of the game. Mm-hmm. They were trying to get rid of us. But I think just the versatility of a lot of the guys like Christian, who had it over 1,000 yards rushing, but also almost over 900 yards receiving. And I think guys like Jahmyr who kind of have that similar thing where we're trying to give him the ball in space, whether it's handing it off or passing it to him. So I think they're probably a lot more versatile players at running back position, understanding that you have to almost do more with your skill set in today's game.
So you're joining us on behalf of Amgen, but that comes on the heels of a very scary situation. You're connecting with people because of cardiovascular disease, heart attack. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on, Barry.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited to join with Amgen, just in getting the word out about general heart health. Because in the summer of 2024, I had a heart attack. I didn't really understand at the time that that's what was going on, and so which I'm learning, and I have learned that that's kind of a similar story with heart attack and stroke victims, not understanding and recognizing those symptoms, right? And so that's why we want to encourage people to have a certain conversation with their doctors about LDL-C or bad cholesterol. The earlier that you can, the earlier that you can find out and learn about this, the better your health outcome is going to be. And so it's been a very educational journey. I was able to take part in a documentary where I talk about my story, but also feature 4 or 5 other individuals who had heart attack and stroke. And so, yeah, I mean, you can go to attackheartdisease.com/documentary, find out about test results or testing options for you as an individual, but certainly, again, just letting people know to encourage them to have the conversation with your doctor, know your number about your LDL-C or bad cholesterol, because sometimes you can be doing a lot of things right, and it has nothing to do with necessarily what you're doing. It could be hereditary or anything. So we want to encourage people to have those conversations.
Living, eating, breathing example. I'm in the best shape of my life. I've worked really hard on that, only to find out that I have a ton of heart issues in the same way. So I really respect what you're doing with Amgen. It's really incredible for you to talk about. How are you, by the way?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm doing well, and it's been insightful just interacting with other fans and individuals, just because we all know that it's very common out there. We've all been touched in some way by heart disease and stroke, and so it's been nice to be able to be a part of informing people and hopefully helping them avoid any kind of incidents.
It's an honor to talk to you, man. It's always great to see you, and I'm just it's great to hear this and that you're using your platform yet again to help people. But most importantly, as I've said before to you, it's just cool that we got to watch you for so many years. You have blessed the world in ways you'll never know. So we appreciate you hanging out.
It was nice being 23 years old and able to do those types of things on the field, so I appreciate it.
I know. It was nice being the kid watching it, but also nice playing you on the video game, too, because let me tell you, nobody could tackle you anywhere. Like, you were the cheat code there, too, Barry. We appreciate you hanging out with us, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Great stuff from Barry Sanders as we continue to roll on live from San Francisco. Coming up next, we're going to get you some preview of the game. We're going to figure out what the Monday headlines look like, but we'll figure it out right now on Yahoo Sports Daily.
One school that's doing some work in there right now, very quietly, is the Florida Gators. At the time of us taping this, Florida is sitting there with a top 10 class. And you're like, JD, wait a second. Florida's got a top 10 class? Who have they added? And I think this portal class in general for John Summerall is a good reflection of just the overall vibe, attitude, persona of what you're going to get from John Summerall during his time in Gainesville.
And I've been thinking about the Denver Nuggets here for a little bit. Jamal Murray's gonna have to carry a torch during this program. Like, it's I know it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air looking around and no furniture around, but hey, he's gonna have to figure it out. What I will say that helps Denver is the return of this version of Aaron Gordon. And I very specifically mean this version of Aaron Gordon. And I know you might have a twinge of concern that he may do too much, but it was good early and they need it now.
Have you had a chance to kind of unpack all of it?
Yeah, I don't know that I have yet. I think it's just another reminder of how wild pro football can be. I've lived it so many times. I mean, I think going back a little over 2 years ago when I tore my Achilles to now, there's been a lot of curveballs and a lot of change. And I was told a long time ago in pro football, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm reminded of that time and again.
How long do you feel like that window is with Lamar, though?
I think you can get 2 more years of Lamar as a locked-in top 5 guy. And then I think after that is when it's like, okay, maybe he ages to more being a top 12 guy, which is still good. Maybe more of a tier 2 guy in my brain. And then it kind of ages from there. Russ went from like a tier 2 guy that fell off to a tier 3, tier 4 guy. You're going to have that drop off at some point in your career.
We are breaking news and giving you Monday headlines. That's what we're really doing. We're just trying to sell newspapers. Every Friday, we like to give you the Monday headlines in advance so you know if you want to buy the paper. She's Caroline Fenton. I'm Jason Fitz hanging out with you on Yahoo Sports Daily live from San Francisco, just days away from Super Bowl 60. It's right around the corner. So we figured we would do some Super Bowl 60, I'll learn to speak, related headlines, Caroline. So let's sell some newspapers, my friend. You are by far smarter than I am, so I will give you first crack at the best headline you got. What do you got for me?
You are far too kind, but I will take it. Okay. My first headline reads, Hawks defense, Seahawks defense outscores the Patriots offense.
News updates.
Thank you very much. That is a stifling, terrifying defense. They will turn you over. They will turn it into points of their own. And look, let's be honest. I understand it was the Snow Bowl in Denver. I hear you. I see you. I understand you, Patriots fans. This Patriots offense has not looked very good. This Patriots offense has not been very explosive. This Patriots offense hasn't scored very many points in the postseason. So I think the Seahawks defense has every bit of the capability of actually outscoring the Patriots offense. And that might come in the form of even just like 10 to 14 points, Fitzy.
I mean, look, this thing, the path to victory for the Patriots, and we'll do our official previews later, but the path to victory to me is just throttling this thing down. You want to slow this football down, your game down. You want to make it ugly. You want to get it in the mud. To your point, there are not going to be a lot of chances for mistakes. And Drake May has just been willy-nilly. He's out there throwing footballs around to the other team like Oprah gives out cars that are tapings. I fear, to your point, that he's going to become a turnover machine, which is how this game could snowball into a problem. So I actually like your call a lot. In fact, if you include special teams on it, man, now we're talking about putting a little cheddar on that thing, because I can see special teams being between special teams and defense. There are going to be points to be had, I think, for the Seahawks. That's
Shaheed to the house. We've seen it before. We could see it again.
You're 1,000% right. Look, Rashid Shaheed, sneaky MVP candidate in all of this too, depending on what he can get done.
Heard it here first.
I'll give you an interesting headline. I'll give you an interesting headline. Just a possibility out here selling newspapers. Let's say that the Patriots win this football game, in which case my headline would look like this: Vrabel intact,
News updates.
Mrs. Vrabel relieved. Now, look, he said it on Bussin' with the Boys. He said that Mike Vrabel made it clear that if it meant he could win a Super Bowl, he would chop some things off.
Cut off his ding-a-ling.
Yeah, he did. And this week he, in fact, expanded on that, saying that it would just be a partial surgery. But either way, look, for the sake of neither do I. Like, is there a special doctor that does that?
I'm not gonna ask questions. I hear the sentiment. I just don't know how you execute that.
And now you know why we are not getting a media pass to the press conference afterwards, because that would either way, win or lose. Mike, back row, first question.
Mike.
Yahoo Sports Data wants to know, intact. So look, but that's where we're selling the newspaper here. I'm a little hopeful for the future of the Vrabel family, that there's no necessary procedure to be done.
Saying, if the headline reads that Mike Vrabel intact, so you pay the Seahawks to win. That Vrabel would not be cutting off his ding-a-ling.
No, he would have to lose. The Patriots would have to win. The Patriots would win. I'm not for Vrabel to be intact. The Patriots would have to.
The Seahawks would have to win, because Vrabel said that he would do certain things for a Super Bowl.
Right, which for a Super Bowl win, which means right. If he loses the Super Bowl, he's not intact.
I'm confused.
So am I.
It's your newspaper.
Look, I'm just trying to sell papers
Either
here.
way,
If I
Mike
can use
Vrabel
to
is
do
going
that,
to be
I'm doing
whole.
that. There we go. Like, perfectly. Right? How about you give me your next one? Where we go?
Okay, next one. Drake, maybe the next Dan Marino.
Oh.
Because look, there's a short list of quarterbacks that's been able to lead their team to a Super Bowl this early in their careers. Dan Marino was able to do it in his rookie season. We just saw Joe Burrow do it in his second season in Cincinnati. They haven't been back. It's been largely a whole lot of losing in Cincinnati ever since they got to the Super Bowl, much more so than there has been winning. So it was Drake May in year 2 leading the Patriots to a Super Bowl. And let's be honest, a lot of fortune. The ball bouncing their way enough times to help them get to this point. If the Patriots lose this game, I am going to save my official predictions for later. But if the Patriots do lose this football game, is it fair to say that maybe is Drake May that next quarterback, the next Dan Marino, the next Joe Burrow, to find all of the success so early in their careers and never get back to another one? Now, of course, Joe Burrow is still writing his story. I think we all hope that the talent that Joe Burrow has, that he is able to get back there and win one. But so far, since they've been to the Super Bowl, it's been a whole lot of suck.
I'm gonna fix your sub headline, Drake maybe, and I'm gonna take Drake maybe. He isn't the answer. Look, I'm just saying. I think Drake May is a very good quarterback. I think Drake May has had a very good year. I think that Drake May was an MVP candidate for a reason. I also think Drake May has played like garbage in the postseason, and I'm not gonna make a sweeping generalization that he's the next Josh Allen or Lamar or Joe or any of those guys based on this season. I mean, I am definitely in it. And this is not just Drake May. For anybody that's not watched me before, I've always been in it. I think it takes 3 years to really know who a quarterback is. Year one, they're a little bit ahead. The league's a little ahead of them, I should say. Year two, they get a little ahead. And year three, it sort of normalizes. I don't think it's a given that Drake May is about to be a superstar for the next generation. I think Drake May has played well, and with Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator, it's looked really good. Mac Jones made a Pro Bowl as the quarterback under Josh McDaniels, too.
Yeah, well, Pro Bowl is
I know. Thanks, Shador. But I do think that there's some element in my mind of, like, given who they played and given how this season went, I still think the Patriots need to surround him with more and continue to develop him. I think Drake May has shown us he can be a franchise quarterback. I don't think Drake May has shown us that he is a franchise quarterback yet. And I know that this year's been really good for him in the regular season, but again, it doesn't apologize for it. But when you look at the list of who he's faced this year, you look at the quarterbacks he was up against this year, you look at the coaches that were all fired that he was up against this year, and then you ask yourself, how has it looked in the playoffs? And I know he's played really good defenses so far, but elite quarterbacks play really good defenses, and they don't throw for 84 yards. Like, I just feel like we're really trying hard to just presume that Drake May is the answer moving forward. I think Jaden Daniels last year was more impressive than Drake May has been this year. So I just think we need to pause a little bit on anointing Drake May as one of the new kings of the AFC until we see it for longer against a better body of work.
I think there's a difference between, in my eyes, elite quarterback versus franchise quarterback. Like, I think Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback in Jacksonville. That does not make him elite. He's paid like a franchise quarterback. They view him as their franchise quarterback. He probably will be the quarterback in Jacksonville for the next 5 to 10 years or however long Trevor Lawrence is lucky enough to play the game of football. That does not make him elite. I think that Drake May is the Patriots franchise quarterback. Can things change? Of course. Like, to your point, we only have a 2-year sample size. But if I had to answer today, is Drake May the franchise quarterback in New England? I say yes. Now, I will not say that Drake May is elite. I do not believe that Drake May is elite. I think at this point, what the season has shown us, Drake May is a factor of the pieces that are around him. He has been able to elevate the pieces around him at times, 100%. But he's not Josh Allen. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Patrick Mahomes. Can he become that? Sure. I will leave the door open for that possibility. But I'm not going to anoint him as that yet.
As we sit today, if Drake May ends up Trevor Lawrence,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Would Patriots fans be disappointed?
You can do worse than Trevor Lawrence.
I think right now Patriots fans are all in on Drake May is about to be somewhere between Burrow and Brady. That's the range of where I think they want. That's the extrapolation. It's like, yeah, but I think in the mind, it's like, well, he's an MVP finalist. We won all these games. Everything's turned around. We're so far ahead of schedule. It's about to bounce through. He's going to end up somewhere between Burrow and Brady, right? And if he ends up being somewhere between Trevor Lawrence and, I don't know, that middle of the pack, C.J. Stroud, wherever C.J. Stroud is right now. Yeah. C.J. Stroud's another great example. After his rookie year, we were ready to anoint C.J. Stroud, the second coming, right? And now, all of a sudden, we're sitting here saying, well, I wouldn't franchise C.J. Stroud, right? So, long time to go on this quarterback conversation. I think the way we're just blowing up Drake May, I think if he ends up being Trevor Lawrence, it'll actually be seen as a negative, not a positive to me.
I think that's the flaw that we have looking at that position in this league. There's not Josh Allens that grow on trees. No. Not every team has a Josh Allen. You want to ask the Jets how much they would love to have Trevor Lawrence right now? You want to ask the Browns how much they would love to have Trevor Lawrence right now? You know, if I told Tennessee Titans fans, hey, Cam Ward's going to end up being Trevor Lawrence, I think you could be okay with that. Would you want better? Do you want Josh Allen? Do you want Patrick Mahomes? Do you want Tom Brady? Duh. Obviously, we all do. I want $1 kajillion. But that's just not necessarily in the cards now. Look, you can do a whole lot worse than a Trevor Lawrence, than a Kirk Cousins. You can do a whole lot worse than that in this league. You can win games. I think Sam Darnold has shown that. I don't think Sam Darnold's elite.
No.
I think the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. And I think that Sam Darnold is proof to all of us that if you put the right pieces in place around a Kirk Cousins, good quarterback, not elite quarterback, you can win championships in this league.
I would rather have a Super Bowl and a Drake May or a Super Bowl and a Trevor Lawrence than a Josh Allen and no Super Bowl, right? And that's where we are with some of the elite. I want Super Bowl. I don't really care about anything.
Super Bowl over everything.
Give me one Super Bowl in my life that I don't care, that I can remember, and I don't care about any of the rest. I'll give you one more headline, by the way, while we're selling some newspapers. This is going to go over gangbusters. One more on our headlines. Mine is Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny breaks records. And I mean absolutely slaughters. For everybody that has a massive opinion about Bad Bunny, let me tell you something. This is the one thing that you need. Yes, that. And also understand this. The most downloaded and consumed artist in music in the world last year was Bad Bunny. If you don't like Bad Bunny, that's fine. Not everybody likes everything. I don't like every artist that's out there in the world. It's not always for me. If you are the most downloaded and consumed musician in the world, you have an audience. And guess what? On the heels of announcing football games in Australia and the inevitable announcement that is going to come sometime of an international game every week, we saw some of the cities that they're suddenly expanding to, Paris, all of these places. The NFL cares about the world. There are people all over the globe that are going to watch Bad Bunny's halftime performance simply because it's Bad Bunny, and they don't even know what the Seahawks actually represent. They don't even know what football is. There are going to be people all over the globe that are going to tune into this halftime show. So when you see the numbers, and when inevitably somebody tries to twist those numbers into whatever it is, remember, the NFL is doing this for a global spin. This has nothing to do with whatever the Nielsen ratings will tell us. It has nothing to do with how many clicks it'll get right here in the good old US of A that we love, right? It has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with globalization of the sport. Bad Bunny is going to crush this halftime show. It is going to be huge.
I adore Bad Bunny. And if you are scared because he looks different or sounds different than what you're used to, instead of being scared of that, why don't you just open up your mind a little bit and open yourself up to something new and wonderful and amazing? He won great Album of the Year at the Grammys. Look, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be amazing. Bad Bunny is an American. Let's just acknowledge that. Not that that matters, but he is an American.
It shouldn't matter.
And he's gonna put on an amazing, incredible performance.
Yeah, and also, by the way, like, you can like Bad Bunny. Hear me loud. You can like Bad Bunny, and it has nothing to do with being woke or not being woke. You can just like Bad Bunny. So
just like good music.
Look, I can't imagine at a Super Bowl party somebody walking in and saying, "I hate football," and you're like, "Have you ever watched it?" "No, but I hate it." Well, you're an idiot.
Grow up.
That's what some people are going to do when they walk in. "I hate Bad Bunny." Cool. What's your least favorite song? Give me a song that you don't like. If you've never listened to Bad Bunny and you say you hate him, sit down, shut up, color in your book. It wasn't for you in the first place. Not every halftime show has to be for every person, even though we all seem to have opinions about it. Plenty more to come on the Super Bowl as we've now dipped our toes into controversial waters. Emmitt Smith did the same. He went off on the Cowboys yesterday. You'll hear a little bit of it, and we'll react next.
Penn State has imported Iowa State. It's the best way I could explain it. Penn State has now taken Rocco Beck. They took RB1. They took wide receiver 1. They took 3 offensive linemen. I detest that this is how college football works at the moment, but it's the way it works at the moment. And that is when you take a head coach, part of the thinking behind hiring the head coach is who he can bring with him. And in Matt Campbell's case, it was basically whoever he wants.
I'm very fascinated to see which direction they go here, because I think that Roman, this is the deal with him. He's not terrible. He's not offensive as an offensive coordinator, but he can get you to a certain point. You need somebody else to get you to the next point. I think he's done a good job with Herbert getting him to run more and getting him to push the ball down the field. Now I'd like to see, someone kind of just, again, give him some more quicker options. That's the type of stuff I'd like to see from the next coach.
Tom Aspinall, Cyril gone. That needs to be resolved, right? Hamzat Shemaiah versus Sean Strickland. But I will accept Hamzat Shemaiah versus Fluffy Hernandez. If Fluffy beats Sean Strickland, I'll take either of those. Here's another one of my, but you accept these as secondary.
100%.
Armin Sarukian versus UFC lightweight champion. We cannot just keep having Armin doing grappling matches and eating and all this stuff. He
I'm
must
kind of okay
fight
with
for
it.
No, I'm not. I know you love it.
You get the first pick in the underrated player draft. Who are you taking?
Jalen Duren has never made an All-Star game. He's never made an All-NBA team. He's gotten so much better as a scorer this year. Jalen Duren is like a legit All-Star this year. And so because everybody talks about the Detroit situation like it's trash and Cade Cunningham, I'm going to say he's still a little bit underrated, and he's my number 1 pick.
The problem with the Cowboys is our defense now is absolutely at the bottom of the barrel. We have fallen so far so quickly in the last 2.5, 3 years that we need to stabilize our defense and upgrade our linebacker core and get more help up front and get some pass rush on the quarterback.
And Emmitt Smith scoring takes like he's scoring touchdowns in his career, hanging out with you, Media Row, giving us his eyes, his views, his thoughts on just the Cowboys defense letting them down.
Hold back.
You know, it's funny, Caroline, because a year ago right now, I mean, Micah Parsons was still a Cowboy. It never would have been our concept, as bad as that defense was at times. It never would have been in our mind that it could get even weirder and even worse throughout the course of the season. Then they acquire Quinnen Williams, and maybe it gets a little bit better until it's not really good enough. And now I'm looking at it and saying, do we really trust the Cowboys to fix this offseason?
No. Oh, God, no. Why would I do that? Why would I trust the Cowboys to fix this offseason? Why would I trust Jerry Jones to do anything? I wholeheartedly believe in my heart of hearts that as long as Jerry Jones is calling the shot in Dallas, they won't sniff a Super Bowl. Because I don't believe in Jerry Jones. I don't believe that Jerry Jones makes smart football decisions. I think that Jerry Jones, regardless of what he says and regardless of what he thinks he believes, I think that he cares far more about the idea of the Dallas Cowboys, the brand of the Dallas Cowboys, than he does actually winning football games. So no, I don't trust him to do this at all. Do I think that Jerry will make some moves to be relevant and to do something and thinks that he's addressing a football need? Yeah, I don't think that he's just going to sit on his hands in this offseason, but do I trust? No. Why would I trust anybody who just traded Micah Parsons for a bag of peanuts? No.
I mean, at the end of the day, the math is the math. And the salary cap is something you can adjust and get around all day long. I understand that. They'll find ways around it this year. But I'll remind everybody that as we sit today, according to overthecap.com that I've pulled up, the Cowboys are $30 million almost over the cap next year. And the cap is bigger than ever expected. You're right. They will figure it out. But when everybody says it doesn't matter that they waited forever to do the deal with Dak, it doesn't matter that they wait forever to do the deal with CD, it does. Like, at some point, the problem is you wait, and you pay too much. The first thing if you know you have your quarterback, if you look at it today and you say, yep, we believe inside the building we have the right guy, the number one most important thing you have to do is sign them early. I will die on this hill all day, every day. The minute you see the sparkle, the twinkle, and you are capable of renewing their contract, you do so. By the way, updated numbers there, $33 million it says there. So if you look at the salary cap situation, you sign your quarterback early because every year guys that shouldn't get paid do. And the more they get paid, the more it costs you. So that's why you want to do a long deal. So all of this talk about it doesn't really matter. He just likes being in the news. They like to draw these things out because it creates clicks and conversation. That has financial consequence. So now when we have a league where you've got teams that have over $100 million in cap space right now, the Cowboys do not. And so you factor that in, and what does it suddenly mean? I don't believe free agency is where you build your team. But now it suddenly means it's complicated, right? George Pickens needs a new deal. It's complicated figuring out how they're going to work all that out. They're going to have to rework a bunch of contracts. And also, you don't have wiggle room to miss in the draft. If you don't hit a home run every draft and you don't have any cash, you can't go get any free agents to supplement it. So I just look across all of it. The focus for Jerry is he loves the fact that people talk about the Cowboys. And because he loves that, and he loves that more than just quietly winning, it just reminds me of every NBA team that decides they're going to trade for LeBron instead of being OKC and just building it the right way, the long way.
It's a fair point to, CD Lamb's price went up significantly because those negotiations were drawn out. Micah's price went up significantly because those negotiations were drawn out. Dak Prescott makes all of the money that he makes because Jerry Jones continued to kick the can down the line. So that does cost you. There is a price to waiting. We live in a market society in the NFL, but the highest paid quarterback in the NFL might not be the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't even know who the highest paid quarterback in the NFL is right now, or highest paid receiver is in the NFL right now. It's probably not who we view as the best one. The highest paid player at any position is just the next one. So that does cost them. But, Jerry has a laundry list of things that he needs to address in this offseason. Yes, I think that George Pickens is a priority, should be a priority. Maintaining that explosive offense intact should be a priority. Can you also address the defense sufficiently enough to the extent that the Cowboys need to address it in order to be right back into a playoff and Super Bowl conversation? I don't know. I think you can if you're willing to spend the cash. Jerry Jones, I do think, is willing to spend the cash, but it goes back to the trust factor, and I don't trust.
Highest paid quarterback in the NFL next season, the highest cap number that any quarterback will carry, Deshaun Watson at $80 million. But after that, but it is funny, after that, Mahomes, Lamar, and Dak. And that's why I keep coming back to this. For anyone that says there's no consequence to the fact that they waited a long time to sign their quarterback, who cares? They got the deal done. Dak's cap number this year is $74 million. That's higher than Josh Allen, right? So $74 million. That's higher than Matt Stafford, who's in the Super Bowl. $74 million. That's almost $30 million more than Joe Burrow. So when you sit there and say, oh my God, there's no consequence, that's almost $30 million more than Burrow. That's consequence. So, that's why right now, if you believe Dax, I have no problem. If you're a team that says, man, we got a quarterback, I'm going to lock him up for another 5 years. I'll keep renewing that deal every 2 years just to get ahead of where the market's going, because it is inevitable. So Charles Robinson said on Inside Coverage a year ago that he believed that in a few years, the NFL salary cap would eclipse $500 million. Think about the trajectory we are on. Quarterbacks are getting paid wild amounts of money. This is why there's consequence. You got to lock guys up before it actually happens. Let's do a quickie here. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys have the 12th pick in the draft. Do you believe they'll have the self-control to go defense with 12? Or if there's a Jeremiah Love sitting there, I'm just saying they can't afford to keep everybody running back there. I feel like Jerry's going to look at it and say, offense sells tickets, offense gets clicks.
The offense is sexy. We are gluttonous for points. Jeremiah Love, I think, at 12. I love Jeremiah Love, adore him, got to catch up with him yesterday. I think 12 is a reach for Jeremiah Love. That's not just Jeremiah Love. It's also just the nature of the running back position as a running back, 12th overall value to your team. If I am Jerry, I am going defense with the understanding that the Cowboys will bring back and will pay George Pickens. So I would go, Jerry's talking about how we need to stop the run. I would go out and get the best run-stopping fat guy defensive lineman that you have in the draft. I would think that Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State, would be available around 12. Obviously, Ruben Bain, if he's there at 12, you take Ruben Bain out of Miami. I think he's one of the best defensive players in this draft. But looking around 12, I would look at a Jamad McCoy out of Tennessee, a cornerback, Mansour Delane, a defensive back out of LSU, Sonny Styles, a linebacker at Ohio State. It's not sexy. It doesn't sell tickets the same way that a receiver or a running back would, but it's what this team needs.
Well, and to that point, you could argue that the most important player on Sunday is going to be Nick Emmanwori, a safety, a rookie. So when we say it's not sexy, it really is. I still love the idea, though, of Jerry walking into the combine and just having everybody line up and be like, all right, who's the fattest guy in the room? You stop the run? Yep, we're drafting you at 12.
A consistent pass rusher or can you stop the run? That's exactly what the Cowboys
Either
need.
or. And it's like, boom, if you qualify for those things, we'll send the card in now. Yeah. I like you, Jerry. One more time on that.
We need to stop the run.
That's so good. I can't.
I'm going to workshop that.
I
hope Joey Mulinaro's listening.
No, like you took the Joey advice, but you don't even need to make it lower. Like it's right on there. Like
Jerry and I are right at the same level in so many different ways. Voice, financially, impact in the game of football.
Yeah, I still haven't been invited to the yacht. All right, so coming up, we've been in San Francisco all week. That's the worst. We've been in San Francisco all week. We'll show you some of the best of, and of course, it's finally time to put it on paper. We'll give you our final Super Bowl predictions. One will alarm you coming up next.
Give us your breakout fighters of 2026.
You're not going to believe that. Number one is Manchester top teams, Atiba Gutierrez. I think he's going to be the next big African star. Already is.
He's chiseled out of stone. He's got unbelievable power. Great skill, huge for the weight class, very, very impressive. And again, you speak to the guys over at Manchester Top Team, they could not be more excited about his potential.
Usually I would dunk on a team that's 8-9 going to the playoffs. You don't deserve it. For Carolina, celebrate it. This was a big step forward season. However you got there, you wanted some hope. You wanted something to be happy about. You backed into it, fine. I don't care. The Panthers did have some quality wins this year. They did seem to be making progress. So for the Panthers, hey, step forward, good job, celebrate it. It's a really nice year for the Carolina Panthers to win this division no matter how they did it.
I don't know how anyone could expect Kalen DeBoer to get Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it, because he's not going to. I would suggest to you that had Nick Saban stuck around at Alabama, he wasn't getting Alabama back to where Nick Saban had it a decade prior. And that's Nick literal Saban. I don't think Kirby Smart's getting Georgia back to what Georgia was a few years ago. Dabo's not going to get Clemson back to what Clemson was. It's almost like the entire world has changed.
Oh, let's get to another factory of sadness. The Atlanta Falcons, who fired Raheem Morris after 2 8-9 seasons.
You got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London. That was what Raheem Morris said when they asked him, why did you take this job?
Yep.
And
That's
you still
it.
got those guys. And you still got those two guys.
Yahoo Sports Daily! It's Super Bowl week. Let's kick it off right. Let's walk down the history of the NFL, Fitzy, shall we?
No, let's get some snacks. Snacks.
I don't know if there's snacks. Maybe nachos?
I think I have figured out a way to make the Pro Bowl interesting.
Corgi races?
No, well, corgi races, obviously.
We didn't even plan it.
Awkward.
We should have called each other this morning to say that we were going to wear the shirts. That's okay. We look amazing in it.
Did you know John is in Rome right now? I'm like, okay, first of all, do I have Grudar? Is it like the Force? Like, hey, there is another, man. I can feel the presence. You gonna pass that meatball there, man? You gonna do a little spaghetti 2 wide bruschetta? Is that what this is about, man? How great was that lane change? Dude did not use his blinker and went over 2 lanes.
Jim Rome, when you're in traffic and you just are angry, but then sometimes you want to mellow out a little bit and think a little Morgan Freeman in your head. So I
yes.
mellow myself
That
out.
might be one of the greatest segues I've ever heard. Finding a way from Jim Rome to Morgan Freeman. Truth of the matter is, I didn't think she could get there.
Everybody in the salon, too, can get a compliment haircut. So I've done that. It's kind of fun. You kind of walk in. It's like, is that Kirk Cousins? And it's like, it is, but haircut's on me.
3, 2, 1. John Morant will be in Memphis.
Oh,
so boring. I know.
They're literally booing us in our ears. CeeDee and Pickens, or we got Puka and Devontae. Which duo's better?
Whoa.
Not gonna make it easy.
I'm going DT Puka, bro.
I'm going to go CD George.
You Shaq and Kobe, or MJ and Scotty? A little before your time, with
I think
MJ and Scotty.
Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and jelly, or burger and fries?
Burger fries.
Burger and fries.
Brady and Moss, or Montana and Rice?
Montana Rice. Montana Rice.
Hi.
Come here, buddy.
Hi, baby.
He travels everywhere with me.
He has more airline miles than I think anybody that I know.
He does.
Problem with the Cowboys is our defense now is absolutely at the bottom of the barrel. We have fallen so far so quickly.
Just so everybody knows out there, they slowed that down way down. I mean, we were sprinting. Pretty sure I clocked in at a 4.3, so call me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's heavier than you think, huh?
This is like 3 pounds.
Nah, for real.
Is your neck hurt?
Nah, you know, kind of used
to
it.
Caitlin Clark is the Steph Curry of the WNBA.
How many kids right now do you think are in a middle school gym and they're giving out their best move and they float it and it goes in and they scream, Pritchard! Right? Like, that doesn't happen.
Is there a team that you'd like to go to?
Nah. Not really. That's a great question. I mean, not really. My parents would probably say they want me to go to the Steelers because that was their favorite team.
I think his time with the Raiders is done.
Is there a landing spot that makes sense in your opinion?
What kind of haul do you think realistically a Max Crosby gets?
Probably more than Micah.
We have to address the crochet hat.
Oh.
The stuntin' jeans.
Yeah.
The tee.
This is me.
Walk us through the fit before
Yeah.
we get into anything
Oh my
else more
gosh.
important.
The hat, my dog Simon makes them, and my chains, Raphael.
Your dog makes them?
Not my dog, but Simon, like my dog. That's
God,
my
you're
dog. My dog, Simon.
DAWG.
That's my dude.
That's your guy.
My
That's your dude. I love it. You're fitted, and I could spot you from a mile away in the best way possible. I was like, that's an outfit.
You know what I'm saying? A little shine for the brand.
1,
2, 3.
Oh my gosh, I have
Molina.
chills. It's Yadier Molina.
Yadier Molina. I want you to imagine the score, the final score. What's the result? Don't tell me who is winning. Just give me numbers.
You want me to say it out loud? Or
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
Yeah.
38-13.
38-13.
Oh, come on. Come on. How? Dashingly handsome and wildly intelligent Nate Tice tweets out, Raiders' job is more appealing than at first glance. Yeah. With an actual path to a quarterback, you know it. And the weapons they have,
It's funny you read that my own tweet like I read my stories to my son. Like, just little sound effects after, what's this? What color is that? So it's same kind of pacing there.
You fractured your spine
I did, yeah.
jumping off a roof onto a beer pong table? Are we sure that doesn't make you a Buffalo Bills fan?
Honestly, I started Bills Mafia. They owe me. And until they pay the piper, they're not going to win a Super Bowl.
So let's spend some big old cash. We're going to make it rain. I don't know. I can, yeah, well, I'm going to try. Okay, we'll make these rain. Look at that. She's already thrown out dollars. Don't worry, I got more. Oh, man, that's some great stuff from this week. Well, I say this, we got still more to get into. We got to get to our previews and predictions. But Hutton, one of our producers behind the scenes, did a great job with that. Doug also has crushed it this week. He hasn't been out with us, but he's been crushing it from home. We've missed getting to hang out with him. Josh and Mike Olfar both hanging out here with us. It's the first time we've gotten to do this show together. I said it before we came out. I'll reiterate it. We get to do this show together in person because you guys have absorbed it and you guys have watched it. You've made us part of your lives. So we're forever grateful for that and honored that Yahoo Sports Daily, which just started back in August, has reached the point and pinnacle that everybody brings us out here. So thank you, most importantly. And yeah, our most viral moment ever as a show came out of this week. So wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all the time that you guys spend consuming our clips absolutely everywhere. The Super Bowl, only 2 days away. Let's finally do it. Let's put it in writing in a way that we'll be held accountable for Monday when we are back at our usual time of 9 a.m. Eastern. All right, so bump. Let's start this, Caroline Fenton. I'll give you the first crack at it. The winner of the Super Bowl will be
Seattle! Woo! I love that we're just coming out right here, not bearing the lead. The winner of the Super Bowl, I think it's Seattle. But Fitz, I will be honest with you. I have felt from the jump, ever since this game was decided, I was like, I think Seattle's going to win. I think they're going to win big. Score prediction here in just a moment. Everyone feels that way. And that makes me feel a little bit nervous about that prediction because very rarely when a feeling or when a decision feels so unanimous is that how it ends up.
Yeah, I'm not going to let everybody else deter me. Seahawks are winning this game. I mean, you're right. Most of us, Frank Schwab is famously this person. I think the only person at Yahoo going the other direction. Thank you, Frank, for being the
everybody's got to be different.
The warrior we all need, so that we're not all one graphic on there. We appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead and give us the score first that you think?
I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I mean, we've talked so much this week about defense. Two defensive head coaches, two run games that have been great all season long, two quarterbacks that have had their peaks and their valleys, two quarterbacks that haven't been on this stage before, two quarterbacks that have been a little bit unreliable. Drake May in the postseason, Sam Darnold in games sprinkled throughout the regular season. So I think this is going to be low scoring. I am taking the Seahawks to win 17-10. It's going to be much closer than maybe all the unanimous Seahawks pickers out there thinks.
I'll give you my score on this one. I tried to stretch it to get to the point where we could make history. I don't think we'll quite make history. 48-10. Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks 48-10. The largest blowout in Super Bowl history was 55-10. I did not know that when I picked this score. I thought I could get to the largest. I can't get to the largest. 48-10. This thing's going to be a slaughter. And I think the reason, to me, it's going to be a slaughter. Look, you mentioned getting a little nervous. I get a little bit nervous because the Seahawks have started slow, and I understand that they've started slow in some games. That could be a deterrent here, but I just don't think it will be. They're going to be able to pile on points, and once they pile on points, I'm not sure that the Patriots can go blow for them. That's where you get into mistakes. Special teams touchdown. This game feels like it's 10-0 hanging around. They quickly become 17-0 off a turnover. Kick return makes it 24-0, and before you know it, it's a bloodbath. Who's the MVP to you?
I think it's going to be Darnold. I think we're all a very quarterback-driven society. And I think Sam Darnold is going to, because I said the game is going to be close. I could definitely see this coming down to, okay, they're taking the run game away because they know that that's going to be, Sam Darnold's kind of biggest I don't want to say crush, but it's going to be Sam Darnold's best friend is the run game. Mike Vrabel's going to say, okay, we're taking Kenneth Walker away from you. Sam Darnold win the football game. I think that's the right strategy for the New England Patriots to take, but I think it's going to be final few minutes of the game. Sam Darnold step up, gotta have it, and Sam Darnold just delivers a beautiful throw to Jackson Smith and Jigba in the end zone, and I think that is going to be what seals it for Sam Darnold.
Now, I got JSN as the MVP, and I think that it's pretty easy to see that if JSN's the MVP, so is Sam Darnold. But I think the number could be so incredibly impressive. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see 13, 14 catches out of this from Jackson Smith. But he is an absolute workhorse. He hogs a lot of the share on this in every good way. I think he goes off. Gatorade color?
I'll go yellow. I'm getting yellow energy.
The best of all the Gatorades?
No, I'm not a big yellow girly. I like the light blue. I like the orange. I like the red. The yellow's fine. It won't be the first one that I reach for, but I'm just getting big yellow energy.
I like your big. I mean, I like the yellow. Yellow's my favorite of the ones, but I was a coward and I took orange. I took orange because that's the shortest odds right now. The betting favorite at some sports books is orange. So I feel like they must know something we don't know, including the Gatorade mix. So I'll say that they go orange, even though yellow is a far superior color. Before we get out of here, we do want to get you some breaking news that we've had this morning. Not a surprise given some reporting, but Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, has resigned. Now, important to note here that he still has a year left on his contract, so he may take some time away. He's now most likely to sit out the season. There is still an opportunity for other teams to trade for his services should they want to, but he has decided that he would rather sit out than remain with this organization. Not a huge surprise considering the fact that he was passed over in the head coaching search for Todd Monken. Obviously, that created some kind of feels that I think are pretty human and normal here. But Schwartz decides he's not going to be there. So Monken needs to figure out now how to get that defense on his side and what his defense is going to look like.
Have you heard the phrase dumb teams stay dumb? That's what the Cleveland Browns are. The Browns are dumb if they thought that they could, kind of bring Jim Schwartz along in this entire head coaching interview process, choose Todd Monken, and expect Jim Schwartz to just be all hunky-dory okay with it. I don't blame Jim Schwartz for saying, all this time, you interviewed me. All this time, you were stringing me along. And all this time, I wasn't going to be the guy. And you think that I'm just going to sit back here and take it? Jim Schwartz, a guy that is one of the most respected defensive minds in this league, I don't blame him for that. And Jim Schwartz, I think, is such a big reason why Myles Garrett is Defensive Player of the Year, why Schlesinger is Defensive Rookie of the Year. The Browns' defense has kept the Browns in so many of their games this past season, even when their offense was a big fat question mark. So I think that this is a huge loss for the Cleveland Browns and already putting Todd Monken behind the eight ball early in his tenure.
I can only imagine that there are teams all over the league that are going to be calling him in some sort of consultant role that won't be deemed a conflict. I also would not be surprised at all if every college football team in the country that might just have something in the back of their mind at least makes a phone call. That's not his background. That's not where he's from. But those two worlds it doesn't matter which contract is in the NFL when it goes to other levels of football. So I would be surprised to see Coach sit around for an entire year. But also I could tell you that if he does, when he decides he wants to coach, he will be one of the most coveted candidates we've seen in a very long time. He is wildly respected for a reason. So, will he end up somewhere else? I would think eventually if he wants to. But certainly, I don't think it's a stretch for someone to realize that every day they walk by that head coach office when they were passed up for that job, they're going to think about the fact that they didn't get to do it.
Yeah, and I wonder, too, what would you trade for Jim Schwartz?
I'd give him a mid-round draft pick. I would give a mid-round draft pick.
A second. I don't think I could give it first. I think that would be a little bit too rich for my blood, but I'd give a second.
You would give a second. I'd give it like a fourth or a fifth for Schwartz.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Yes. That's where I go.
And if you're the Browns, are you going to say no? Because he's not going to come back to the Browns, so it's just a net positive for you. It's not like you're going to repair that relationship, I don't think, overnight.
Yeah, I'm not going to presume anything on this one is completely done until every staff in the NFL is absolutely assembled. Again, it has been a wild week for us. It has been an incredible week for us. We are humbled and and thankful forever for the work that our team put together behind the scenes. It has taken a bunch of people that are in this room that you'll never see on camera that have worked their tails off every day. Special thanks also to our bosses, Ryan Spoon, Sam Farber, Matt Ufford, that pulled the necessary strings to get us out here. Incredible week. Thank you so much for watching. We're back Monday, but we'll be at our regular time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching Yahoo Sports Daily.